All right, looks like we are live on Facebook. Frantic Romantic presents Hanging with the Friends, episode number 16. Tonight we have Stevie Loveless, the Royal
What's up?
Rebels.
All right, Stevie.
And the SJ Syndicate.
Yep, that's right.
So, Stevie, I got a question right off the bat.
Oh, shit.
I barely know anything about you, and I just want to know, how did you get to be so cool, man?
Oh, man. Well,
What's your history? I want to know. I want to know kind of your for the audience that's joining us right now. Obviously, like always, feel free to write in with questions that we can ask Stevie here. This is Stevie Loveless. Really cool dude, awesome musician, awesome photographer. If you're wondering who shot our last band photos, Stevie Loveless here. So thank you again for doing that.
that was fun shit.
And we're about to find out just how cool Stevie is.
So, I've been around the scene for a long time. Lots of weird little connections that we'll get into talking about a little bit later. But when I was a kid, I got really into music. My older brother, he's 4 years older than me, so he came home with records and, really influenced the path that I ended up on. Just by, bringing home music and stuff and turning me on to things. So I was probably 13 or 14 and, I wanted to go see this concert at a nightclub that was around a local nightclub called One Step Beyond. And they were all ages, and my mom agreed to let me go. And that show was Steelheart. And Bill from the Rebels was in Steelheart for a little while. So now I play in a band with a dude that was in Steelheart for a short stint, and that was my first club show. But so I went to the Steelheart show. I met a bunch of people. I met Kenny Sinatra that night. And if you know me, you know that Kenny Sinatra and I are good friends, and have been good friends for a very, very, very long time. But we actually truly really met that night, and. So, and he's got a funny story about it, but I was a kid. And anyway, so we got into the scene, me and my brother, and we met a ton of people, and that was my whole thing, was just go out, meet people, be cool, be genuine. And there were a few bands that took me under their wing. I'm friends with all of them still to this very day. The guys in a band called Classy Trash, Craig Rubio, out of Gilroy, and a band called Cherry Bay. And they kind of just took me under the wing, and they let me hang out. I mean, again, I'm just this little kid, trying to get involved. Right. And they took me under their wing and showed me the ropes and taught me about clubs and taught me about, how to be around people and how to act with people you don't know and how to act with clubs and how to act with club owners, and brought me to their parties and introduced me to everybody. And, there's another guy who's involved, and I ended up in a band with him as well. Dan Lawson, he's the drummer. Is the drummer in Swerver. If Swerver was to ever do something again, Dan Lawson is the drummer for Swerver, always has been. And he's a badass. But he also was one of those guys that was just really open to having me around, and taught me a lot as well. And again, I ended up playing in a band with that guy later on. So as time went on, you just met people, and you played in bands and started little nothing bands, and then those fell apart, and you end up in other bands, and then you meet people after people. But what's crazy is that it's all kind of incestuous, right? Like, I even have a connection with Frantic and Skyway View.
Right, Dave Gary, yeah. Right.
Mm.
He has played in Los Bastardos de Amor, right?
Right. And so going all the way back again to the One Step Beyond, Jimmy Arsenault was the guy who was booking the One Step Beyond, and he was the singer guitar player in Los Bastardos.
Right.
And so there's just all this connection. It's all connected. It's from Steelheart to the One Step to Dave Gary to Frantic. It's really weird how it plays out like that sometimes. But within all that, I mean, I've met a ton of people, and the whole thing, dude, really, if you want to do this and and get by really well is just stay humble and kind. Just be cool to people.
Yeah.
It's not that hard, you know.
Right, and music aside, I think that's a great piece of advice for anybody. Just stay humble and don't be an asshole. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Dude, I'll
Right.
tell you honestly, even from being a kid and going to go see these bands, you know, and 99% of them were super cool to me. And to me, I didn't know that they were local bands. I thought they were these huge bands, and I wanted to meet them because I really liked their music. And I would go up to somebody and, you know, and tell them straight out, "Hey man, I loved your guitar playing." And, you know, I was that kid from Almost Famous. You know, I was pumped. I loved it.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, and there's a couple dudes that were just dicks, and those dudes are still around today. And fuck those dudes.
Yeah.
Well,
Still dicks.
I remember, you know, I remember watching an interview you had on Soundwaves, and one of the things you had mentioned was around the 2000s, you felt that around the 2000s is when, you know, like the local scene kind of went from being like pretty kind and humble to kind of switching gears and being a little bit more like rude and competitive and stuff. Is that true?
That was a big thing. And when I first started coming up, there was this big camaraderie with bands, and it was like,
Right.
you know, you would go to these house parties, and you know, all these bands were hanging out, whether it was the Cherry Bay and Classy Trash guys, with the Erotic Doll guys, and the Mr. Hyde guys, and everybody was friends. And you know, and they would do shows together, and everybody was rooting for one another, and it was just this big family affair. And it was a great time to be in this big rock and roll scene that we had in the Bay Area. And then, you know, something around 2001, 2, maybe even earlier, it just kind of seemed like this became this, instead of this camaraderie, it turned into this competition.
Yeah, it was like this, everybody wants to get signed. Everybody's like, I'm doing better. I'm drawing more fans. I remember that time period.
Yeah, because I mean, you guys were around. I mean, it was very much like, well, I'm not playing under that band, and fuck that band, and I'm not going to play under that guy.
Right.
And it was like, you know, I know bands that got pulled off of gigs for that, for just being like, well, fuck it, I'm not going to play under that band. Well, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to play under that fucking band, so fuck them. And you know, and they got yanked from the gig, and then word got
right
about what a bunch of dicks they were, and that stuck with them.
Right.
You know, it's the whole old adage, right, of treat people how you want to be treated. It's
Right.
really just not that difficult. And that carries over to the scene, man. I'm going to be nice to everybody until it's time for me not to be nice to you. Like, I'm going to start off super, super cool with you, and I'm going to bust my ass to help you with whatever you need. If something I have, or you need to use my gear, or, you know, you need a photo taken or whatever, I'm going to do it for you, because, you know, I believe in what you're doing. You know, without the bands that we have, or had, or still have, then we don't have a scene. And so, you know, if I can help that along, then I'm going to. But if you're a dick to me, then fuck you. You know, and that's like but I'm not like that right out the gate. I'm going to be like, well, you know, hey, dude, yeah, dude, totally. You want to use my stuff? Have at it.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's definitely the right attitude to have.
I mean, you asked a question, you know, how I got so cool, and it's like, it's not about being cool. It's just about being, I don't know, just a human, right? A person, like who believes in what we all are doing, not just me. It's not just about me, right? As much as I'll, you know, joke around and say, oh yeah, this guy. It's not about this guy. It's about all of us, and Frantic Romantic, and Royal Rebels, and, you know, whoever else, Skywave U. I mean, without Skywave U, there'd be no Frantic. You know, it's
right.
Just, it has to just be in line. And without, you know, if I was a dick, like, you wouldn't want me to take your photo, you know, or you wouldn't want me on here, or you get more flies with honey, Olsen.
Yeah. Right.
You know, but I can be a bastard. Don't let the cool shades fool you. You know, you poke the bear one too many times, and I'm gonna bite you.
I hope you don't mind. I actually have another question for something you had mentioned just a few minutes ago. Because the way I got into music is I have a brother that's about 4 years older than me, and he started just handing me stuff, and one of the earliest albums I was told about from him that really got me into music was Super Unknown by Soundgarden. And then from there, just, I was like, I get what I like now. Right. But I'd like to know if there was an album like that from your brother to you that you feel
well, I
did
mean,
that
you're a
for
bit
you.
younger than me, so that makes sense to me. Soundgarden. I mean, that was a big thing. So when I was a kid, my brother's name is Sean. He came home with Motley Crue, "Shout at the Devil," and I was probably 8, 9 years old, and he came home with the record, and on that particular record, there was the big pentagram on the front. And it was "Shout at the Devil." And there was all this PMRC thing, which was the Parents Music Rights Resource Group.
Right.
Something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
And it was led by Tipper Gore. And that was the whole thing about explicit lyrics being put on lyrics because of, it was like this big witch hunt against like these bands that were doing backward, or they thought were doing backward masking. And
yeah,
kill yourself, that kind of.
like Chicago, right? Like in Little Nicky, right?
Right. So they had this whole thing about split. Anyways, so Motley Crue, he brings home Motley Crue with the big pentagram on the front, and it was like, because Dungeons and Dragons was under fire at that time as well. So it was like, devil worship and PMRC, and you've got a bad kid if they've got, something about warlocks or whatever. So anyways, this record comes in, I see it, I'm like, oh shit, if we put this on, we're gonna be in big trouble. Let's put it on. So we put it on, and in the beginning, and I don't know if you know the Motley Crue "Shout at the Devil" record. Anybody out there, Motley Crue "Shout at the Devil" is a great record. It's what got me started. At any rate, it starts off and it's got in the beginning, and it's like the devil or whatever speaking. It's talking about, the city's full of slums, kind of like what we're dealing with right now. It scared the shit out of me because I'm a kid, and I thought, it scares the shit out of me. Let's listen to the whole thing. And then put it on repeat and did it again, and didn't know what the guys looked like, didn't know, anything about Motley Crue. It was just this big pentagram. And I loved it, and I was sold. Then after that, the same day, he brought home Quiet Riot, Metal Health. And so you put that on, like Bang Your Head comes on, it's like, whoa, what's going on? And the guy with the mask on the front. So that's what turned me on to music. Now, like before that, I was like, whatever was on like KWSS, which was like the local station at the time, like local top 40 station.
Yeah.
But even before that, like, my mom listened to Journey and like soul music. She loved R&B and loves R&B and soul music. My dad was kind of a rock country guy, and so I had all that, but it was really this top 40, and then Sean came home with like the metal, and it was like life changing.
Well, because I don't know if you felt this way, but like for me, it's like my dad would play Led Zeppelin and he'd play Pink Floyd, and I thought it was cool, and I mean, as a grown up now, I mean, I just fucking love it to death, right? But at the time when you're a kid and having an older sibling, it's like they hand you something and you feel like, this has a bit more relevancy now, right? It's like,
it's not your parents' music, right?
Right.
So
yeah.
It's a different animal than like, hopping in the station wagon and, Willie Nelson's on, on the road again. It's a whole different thing.
Right.
Not that I, didn't like that. My dad would have above all of it, Kenny Rogers was my guy. So, the Gambler,
right?
Gambler
right.
TV show. It was like, if I can play that and I can be like Kenny Rogers, sign me up. And then showed up and jacked it all up. I probably have $1 million right now if I was still listening to Kenny Rogers.
Rick, just curious, did we have any questions from the audience?
Well, actually, that you mentioned Mark Pearson. So we all know Mark, love Mark, great attorney out of San Francisco. Thank you, Mark. He had a question that was about, he was asking for a friend. Are you allowed to have made out with a girl in high school while listening to Steelheart? I look at that question as being two-pronged. Are you allowed to be a member of Steelheart and make out with high school girls?
We should probably ask Bill Nero that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Because, I mean, I still went and saw the band. I didn't, I wasn't in the band. What was their hit? And I'll never. No, shit, that wasn't it.
Angel Eyes?
Oh, yeah, that's it. Angel Eyes. Thank you. I can't believe I forgot that because we give Bill so much shit about it.
Oh, weekly. And I think that one was actually played on KWSS now that you mentioned that.
You remember KWSS?
Oh, my God. My brother was a DJ there.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a weekend guy. He did a show production for, I think it was like one of the later morning drive guys. I can't remember his name, but yeah, he started off interning there. He got to be friends with Chris Jackson when he was Kid Squid. And
Kids.
yeah, I got to go to the studio. And,
like a DC hero.
oh man, those were some great days, man. I used to go into the studio with him there on weekends and watch him do shows and stuff. And it was like, holy crap.
KWSS, dude. I can remember like with the tape deck hitting play like at like whatever their top 10 at 9 was, or you know what I mean? Like, Kenny Loggins' Footloose is coming on. I know it's gonna be number 2.
Yep.
Have that hit, play, and record.
I'm getting it. Yes. So one day Nelson, those two brothers, it was Ricky Nelson's
twins.
boys.
Twins, right.
I can't live without your love and affection, dude.
That's the one. Yeah, I still have that album.
Dude, they were great. They were great. They are great musicians. Like,
they're still very talented. I mean, they are amazing talented singers. So those two guys come in, they're promoting their album, and John's like, he calls me up. He's there at the station, doing some of his work there, and he goes, "Hey man, you gotta get by the stereo, man, and get a good tape in there." So I grabbed like my best, cleanest tape that hadn't been recorded over all that many times and stuck it in there. And man, I had that all queued up and ready to go. And those guys come on during one of the breaks. I guess it was like maybe a surprise or something. And they did this acoustic version of Love and Affection. It was like, wow, man. I mean,
yeah, dude, I wish I knew we were going to talk about this because I would have busted that out. Like the shit. Oh well.
I know all the words still. I love that.
Well, that would be a live stream from rehearsal. Love and Affection.
Oh yeah.
Get excited when Bill Nero. Yeah.
So somewhere I still have the tape, and he took it into work and threw it onto one of their carts, and they would air that. They would play that recording that I made.
That you recorded from them playing it?
Yeah, because they didn't do it in studio. They didn't record it while they were there live. They didn't think to do it. So it was really cool, man.
There's another connection, KWSS.
Oh, yeah, KWSS, Gilroy, San Jose. I love that. A nationwide communication. Oh, yeah. That takes me – I mean, who was it? Who were their morning guys that were just, raunchy? It was before, they were the big competition for Lamont and Tonelli. Yeah. Oh, man.
Dude, I don't remember who the morning guys were. Because later it was Kayla and me came around and I got into Kayla, right? And,
I mean, it was a totally.
It was like the Weed Man and stuff, but who was the morning guys on there?
It'll come to me. It'll probably be like at 9:35 tonight. Like, I know, right now. Yeah. The nice thing, they just don't have that anymore. Like those radio stations that did top 40. So that was where I heard Guns N' Roses for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like I thought the whole album was gonna be like Sweet Child of Mine. Nope. Like, what is this? It was amazing.
Yeah, surprise. Yeah, right.
I didn't know.
My Michelle comes on and it's like, oh man.
I'm sorry, excuse me. Your daddy wants his what?
Yeah, what? Oh. He's doing what?
Oh, let's rewind that. The worst thing is I got that cassette of Appetite, and because in the mornings we were talking like 6th grade, right? So I'm going to school, and my mom, she was cool. We'd listen to KWSS on the way in.
Yeah.
So we're listening, and we hear Guns N' Roses. That's the only song they played is Sweet Child. So I get the cassette. And it was
Like
after we
the
stopped.
single or the record?
No, I got the whole cassette.
Appetite for Destruction, right?
Yeah,
The whole thing.
yeah, the whole album. So we stopped. I go to school over in Campbell for grade school, right? So on the way home, there's Tower Records right there in
I worked at that
Campbell on
time.
Basket.
Right.
So I go there, man, and that was like I love going in there, and so I found my cassette. It was like, she let me get it. I popped that thing in there, and my mom was a pretty conservative lady, and all of a sudden I hear this, your daddy wants his porno. It's like, good God. Sorry. It's like, I'll use that in my Walkman. Sorry, Mom. It's like, I got,
that wasn't Sweet Child at all.
No, it was
No.
not. No. But that was the beauty of KWSS, though.
I think you had a story like that too, right, Mike? You bought something, I think you were telling me, like a long time ago.
Oh yeah. Well, like on the topic of Soundgarden, right? There was that last album they had, and there's a song called Ty Cobb where the lyric is hard-headed fuck you all, hard-headed fuck you all, hard-headed fuck you all, blah blah blah, right? He just says fuck a bunch, right? So, I go to Tower Records with my dad. We pick up this album, we throw it in, and like the first 4 or 5 songs, oh man, my dad's like, oh, this is really good, and then and then it gets to that song, and then it just
that's it. Done.
We turn it off, and he just says, "Don't tell your mom." And then,
it was Kelly and Klein.
How great was
Kelly and Klein?
Tower Records, though. I mean, just to be able to go into Tower Records and
loved it.
Like, I can't tell you how
an iconic bag, right? I had a bunch of those bags, dude.
I mean, I can't tell you how many records I bought just on like the cover art. Oh, that looks cool. That looks cool. Or it was like in the same kind of section where I was looking. It was, oh yeah, that's the one. I miss those days of just like I would get bored and just go to Tower Records and dip the Tower and listen to stuff, and those were good times, man.
Yeah. And that particular store on Bascom had like that mystique to it,
I worked there and it was awful.
Really?
I hated every minute of it. I thought that it was going to be great, right? Like, oh, I'm working at a record store. This is right up my alley. It was shit sandwich, man. I hated every fucking minute of it.
Well, you worked at Media Play, Zeke, right?
Yeah.
You kind of had a feel for that.
We just had a lot of people trying to steal stuff. That was the biggest problem for me, man. Trying to get people not to steal.
Yeah, we had a lot of that too, and it was I don't know. The whole thing sucked. I was much better Tower customer than a Tower employee.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, before COVID started, I mean, I used to go. Me and a buddy of mine would always go to the Amoeba Music, just right there in Hollywood. Probably, at least once a month, right? And the people working there just always they seem like they're not having a great time working there.
Yeah, because it sucks.
Well, so what are some things
it's not
that
like Empire Records at all. That is a fucking outright lie.
That was a cool ass movie. Yeah.
That's an outright lie. There's nothing cool about it. Working there, it's like I guess you get out of it what you put into it, right? I went there like, oh, I need a job, and it's cool. I'm a rocker guy. I'll work a Tower, and it was like, yeah, hey, go sort that bin or go do this, and then there was kind of like a clicky thing, and like you were the new guy, and it was like, fuck this, I'm out.
You guys never like blasted Sponge over the loudspeakers and have a bunch of kids like running down the street? Yeah.
Did you say Sponge?
Yeah, with that song "Plowed" or whatever.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I remember that song, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a question here. First of all, Kenny Sinatra. Hey, buddy, thank you very much for watching.
Hey, Kenny.
So he actually said Kelly and Klein. That was the morning guys. Those are the ones. Yeah.
Well done, Kenny Sinatra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Bill Kelly, Al Klein. There we go. I remember.
Wow. Well done.
Yeah. Yes. Stupid memory, but thank you to Kenny.
Yeah. Wow.
So we got a question here from Nestor. Nestor, he's one of the regular watchers.
Nestor!
Very cool supporter.
What's up?
He's got 2 questions for you, Stevie. First one is, what's the best part of being a musician? Okay, so that's one. And then, since we were talking about alternative careers, if you weren't a musician, what do you think you'd be doing?
If I wasn't a musician?
Yeah.
I'd have been
not working at Tower Records.
I'd have been a cowboy, dude. How's that?
Nice.
I know, really.
I mean, that's cool. Yeah.
When I was a kid, I rode horses. Family had a ranch. If I didn't like turn all of my attention to music, I probably would have done that.
Wow.
Been, out there being a cowboy and with a big old hat, and like a straw sticking out of my mouth or some shit. Not that that's bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm down with the whole thing. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I work in the industry. Like my real legit day job is, in the music industry. So I got very fortunate to be able to do that. So I don't know. I don't really know what I would be doing if I didn't do what I did. So yeah, sorry to disappoint, but I guess this is who I am, man. What was the other question?
It was what's the best part about being a musician? I mean, what do you like about the industry? Even if we're in the middle of shutdown, what's the thing you still like about it?
I'm a performer, right? I like performing live. Of course, we're all songwriters and artists and that whole thing. And did I lose you guys?
No, you're here.
My computer was all, hey, let's have a freak out real quick, right in the middle of my heavy question. I mean, we're all artists, we're all songwriters. Me personally, I love to perform. I love to be up on that stage, and I love to find that one person in the audience who isn't, it's, you've heard this answer a million times, but it's absolutely true, is you want to find that person who's not having a good time and make them have a good time.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, that's something that I learned from being in bands with Jimmy Arsenault, in Los Bastardos and stuff. I learned a lot from just doing it for a long time. But that's probably my favorite part, is just making that person have a good time or feel what you're feeling, and delivering it that to them. So when after the show, they come to you, and of course you want them to be like, oh man, that song was something, and those lyrics touched me. But I also, you hear my dog freaking out. You also want them to be like, oh, dude. The biggest compliment I ever got was I was playing at the Ace of Spades, and I wish I can remember what show it was, and I wish I knew who it was who came up to me, but we had played at this show with a headliner, and it was a big sellout show. And I come off stage, and this guy stopped me, and he was like, dude, you should be in Alice Cooper's band. And Alice gets all the greatest guys, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm a big Alice Cooper fan, and I'm a big Ryan Roxy fan, big Beasto Blanco fan. I love all those dudes in his current incarnation of his band. And so when that guy stopped me, I was floored. But that's why I do it, because again, I'm a performer, and to hear that kind of response to me was like one of the biggest compliments, because I'm so enamored with Alice Cooper and the way that he chooses his bands and the people who play in his bands. And for someone to come up to me and say, hey man, you should be in Alice Cooper's band, was a giant compliment.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know if I really answered the question, but that's, I don't do it for an ego stroke. I do it because I love the adrenaline of it, and I love like connecting with people. If that's the answer, I guess.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
your answer. That's good.
I'm sticking to it.
Boom.
Yeah, there's really nothing like playing live.
Yeah, there's nothing really like it, right? I mean, we've done some recording stuff with the whole COVID shutdown. We did it the very first night it shut down, but the Rebels did, and it's cool, but there's no audience there, and so it's a whole different mindset.
Mm-hmm. The energy's different.
Yeah, for sure.
It is.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. We've all played those bars to the bartender as well. I mean, some of the best events I got was, you play like you're playing, to 1 million people, to 10,000 people, like you play in Madison Square Garden, whether there's one person in the audience or 10, because there's always those stories of, of, oh, well, those 3 people that were there were, you know, A&R for Elektra Records, and they just signed this little podunk band from San Jose. You know, there's always that story. So, you know, I always try to perform and give it everything, because I don't want to cheat the audience either. You know,
Right.
like, you spent $10 to get in there. I'm going to put on a show, and it always pisses me off, man, when it's like some dude goes up there and looks like he just got off work and, you know, is phoning it in. It's like, fuck, dude, and I spent $10 for this. I could have keep it on YouTube, and, you know, and that's part of the problem, you know, ultimately, is dudes going up there half-assing it and not giving a shit, you know, and not entertaining people the way that people
they deserve to be. Right.
I mean, you guys entertain the shit out of people. I mean, you're dancing around and you're doing your thing, and, you know, to me, you can't have one without the other. You can't have these great songs, but then not give out, you know, this 100% performance, because then you've cheated me. Then you've screwed me out of, like, well, why did I come here? I could have just put your record on and listened to the music. But now I've got a visual, and now I'm going up to this guitar player, bass player guy, and saying, damn, dude, you were super cool. Can I have a guitar pick? And, oh, by the way, you should be in Alice Cooper's band. So, you know, like, you've touched the audience and you've entertained them, and that dude's going to remember you, you know, and he's going to tell his friend, and then next time you play out in Sacramento, they're going to come and, oh, you got to see this guy, or you got to see this band or his band. And, you know, it's part of it, you know. Now, if I was just looking at my shoes the whole time, dude wouldn't remember me. He wouldn't remember the band. He wouldn't get shit, you know. You got to put it out there. And I tell it to everybody, you know, because just being in the scene and seeing what we've all have done and have gone through, I think you lose a certain something when you're just not giving it all. And, you know, you're some dudes out there, you know, looking down and just not. I mean, there's a time and place for that, I guess. If I go to a rock show, I want to see a rock show.
Yeah. And, you know, just sort of piggybacking on what you're saying, it's interesting, you know, I'm sure with all of us, it's like we could sort of pinpoint different points in our own band careers, right? Where we would learn something about that, right? About, you know, the difference between a performance and a show, right? You want to put on a show, or the difference between, like, wearing a silly t-shirt and, like, you know, dressing up like a rock band, right? And
yeah, I mean, I don't want to go and get on. So again, you know, it's a Kiss thing, right? It's you know, Kiss the band. You want to be larger than life. You want to, you want to be, you know, this superhero. You know, and I think local guys lose sight of that. You know, because, you know, they don't want to get ribbed by their friend. Oh, fucking rock star, blah blah blah. You know, because I mean, I've seen it happen. You know, oh, who the fuck does this guy think he is? Well, fuck, dude, I'm busting my ass up here is what I think I am, and it's my fucking show. If I want to wear platform boots and breathe fire, well, fucking guess what? That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
You know, you just always want to be, you know, bigger than. I see your look, Rick. The look on your face. Like,
no, I was thinking, like, next Frantic gig. I wonder if, Mike, you would do the platform boots and the flamethrowing.
I bet you could set Mike on fire, like Nikki Sixx style.
Oh man,
I bet he'd be down for that. I've seen Frantic Romantic. I'm sure Mike would be down.
We could do some pyrotechnic stuff. I mean,
see,
you know,
how easy that was. I've got sparklers right now. We can take. It'll be awesome.
Got to start living up to my stage name, you know. Just
We did, except we do the safe and sane pyrotechnics, and little sparklers. And that was a swing and a miss. No, I was just wondering, like, you think Dan over at Art Boutique would let us do a little pyro in there?
Nah, he banned us from doing fog or whatever. The first time we did a fog machine was the last time we did a fog machine.
Well, did you guys set out the fire alarm or what?
No, I mean, here's the thing.
Nobody could see anything, right?
Our bassist at the time turned the fog machine on and then just left it on.
Oh.
So then it just like a straight fog stream of just
Yeah, that's too much.
The whole time. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I know the feeling. All right, so we got Tara. Tara actually said that she would, Tara Black, she said that she would lend the platform boots.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
So, I mean, that leads me into social media, right? Like, you know, again, being bigger than life, you know, you want to have your band stand out,
Right.
you don't want to put up some jank ass photo, or, oh, here I am, just, eating Cheerios, it's like, who gives a shit?
I love
Oh,
Cheerios.
I have an idea. So there,
Yeah, exactly.
That's a Stevie Loveless original.
Yeah.
It's beautiful,
Right
man.
Yeah, and that was a fun shoot. I mean, I know what you guys were like. I did my research. I knew, a lot of you. And so I set the shot up and that was that. But that's a cool shot. I mean, and that sets you apart from, Joe Blow down the street who has this cell phone picture in his bathroom with, holding a guitar. It's like, who cares? Nobody cares. But that's a cool photo, but for all of them to be like that, your live shots, all of them, some kind of production value,
Right. Effort. Right. Totally.
Yeah, just show that you give a shit,
Right.
And it's crazy. I think that's, I mean, that's something that it seems like a lot of local musicians really struggle with still. It doesn't feel like it's necessarily, implicit with doing music yet, right? It's not something that people check off their list necessarily, but like they really should, because I mean, damn, like
they have to. They better start, because I mean that's where we are right now.
Yeah,
and we have been for a long time, but now that's the environment that we are in. Yeah. And if you don't start standing out from the crowd, you're going to get lost in the shuffle. I'll tell you honestly, right now, I'll see live streams that pop up on my feed, and it's a crap cell phone live stream, and I scroll right by it. Now, when it all started, I was watching all of them, right? But now, as it's gone on, bands and artists have upped their production value, and so I'm going to stop at the ones that have actually put in this effort to make this live stream, really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
Versus the guy who's just doing some crappy cell phone video. Now, cell phone videos can be great, but with a little effort.
Right.
I mean, if that's what you got, the best camera is the camera that you have in your pocket. If that's what you got and that's what you have to work with, then work with it. But make it to where it stands out from, oh, well, here's me and whoever in our front yard doing nothing. Yeah, we're playing music, but am I enticing you to come and watch us?
Right.
Not really.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, lighting, right? Lighting makes a huge difference. I mean, like dressing the set, that makes a huge difference, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, you don't need some crazy light. I mean, you can just have your desk lamp, and just dress in the set, and you're good to go. Like, I was limited. I was at my house. I came back from SJS rehearsal, and it was like, oh, well, bedroom it is, But, I mean, there's always something. I mean, with just a little bit of time and prep, but that makes you stand out on social. And in this environment, you have to stand out in social, because you're going to get lost in the shuffle. It's just like playing the clubs, right? So you go out and you play the clubs, and you're a great band, but you're mediocre on stage, or you don't have a stage presence, or you're not bringing anything exciting to that stage. Yeah, you might, grab some people, but you're not going to grab people the way that if you came out there and you delivered a show and you left like, a pound of sweat on that stage, people are going to remember that.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, you just need to get your shit together, local bands, with your media. But not even local, everybody, it's if you want to be noticed and you want to be the next Kardashian or whatever, you better have something cool in your content, like on your Insta or on your Facebook or whatever. It better be up to par.
One of the, just jumping onto that, like, I think one of the coolest thing about, this particular group that I'm in is we do have a lot of conversations about that very thing, and when I've been in bands in the past, I felt like I was always the one playing dress up and the rest of the band was kind of like not really into it, and I remember I was in this band with this guitarist, and for a few years, like he didn't go to any shows, he didn't network with anybody, he didn't
See,
he
that's
didn't really
the
make
problem,
himself
dude.
known, and he would always ask me, he'd always be like, hey man, do you think the music is good enough to get signed? And I would tell him, like, dude, you can't just
Don't just bank on that.
yeah,
right?
you can't just cross your fingers and hope that the magic of music is gonna like wisp you away. Like it requires like being known, right? Like people need to know you.
Visibility, right? You need to network. You need to
Well, that's
get
right.
your name out there,
I think it's visibility. I mean, you can put out the best record on the, or better yet, right? You can be the best guitar player around in your bedroom, right?
Right.
Because there's plenty of guitar players right now in their bedroom that will shred all over everybody on this screen.
Yeah.
But nobody will ever know because they don't get on stage. They don't know how to get into a band. They don't know other local musicians. They don't know how to even start being in a local band because they haven't networked,
Right.
they haven't gone out, they haven't met anybody. But man, they can get on YouTube or even on a Facebook Live and on their shitty cell phone video in their bedroom and shred.
But it's crazy. I've played with people that are like fucking insanely good, right? But they don't know how to play in bands. Like they don't know, they're real selfish with their playing. And that's another problem too, right? Like they don't know how to like play for the song. They just fucking shred the whole time. And it's like, how the hell am I going to sing over that? You know what I mean? Like how are we going to do anything over that,
You always got to remember that too. Like, man, we're in a band. There's no one to pull off and dive in and lay back and
right. How to play what's appropriate to the song, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it can be a tricky task to get around that sometimes too. Yeah, ultimately, I always tell bands that ask me or young bands, the trick to being in a band is learn to get along with your band.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They better be your friends or you're gonna have problems.
Right.
Unless you're getting paid a shitload of money to shut your mouth, you better be having a good time. Otherwise,
yeah, I mean, you figure, best case scenario, right? It's like you're spending 7 days a week, probably 12-hour days, for whatever 6 months to a year and a half with these folks, right? And like, that's the goal everybody's going towards, right? So I mean,
yeah, I mean, look, there's weekend warriors and there's dudes that are in it for the long haul, right? And I've got no qualms with dudes that are like, hey man, I just like playing a local bar and that's where I want to be. And I'm just like, fuck, dude, good for you. Go do your thing. But if you're one of these guys out there that's like, oh man, I'm pushing, and we're the next big thing. Well, you better like the guys in your band.
Yeah.
Right.
If that's truly your end goal. But if you're just cool with going to the local bar and playing some Steve Miller covers or whatever it is, then, hey man, more power to you. But if you're going to be on the road, I did a tour in England where we were on the road like 10 hours at a hit every day.
Wow.
Like in the morning, 10-hour ride. Get to the venue, ate dinner, played, back in the car, to the hotel, up the next morning, 10-hour ride.
Wow.
Right? And you better like them dudes. Because that 10 hours in a little ass van, is pretty piss poor. But if you're with a bunch of dudes that you like and you're having a good time and you're laughing and everyone's, getting along, that 10 hours goes by like that.
Right. Yeah.
That's so true.
And, I mean, I'm sure we've all been in bands where, we could say that definitely would not work out.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. There's band that I was in that there was no fucking way.
Oh man.
But, it is that. There's that.
So you mentioned England, man, and I have like no concept of geographically speaking how big the country is. Yeah.
Big, dude.
So like, I've got a globe way over there across my room, so I can't see. As a matter of fact, it's Australia that's pointing my
I
direction.
mean, okay, it's big.
So when you say 10 hours, I'm like, it's 10 hours across? Like, really? Like, okay.
So from like the southern tip to the
Yeah.
up to Scotland, 10 hours easily, if not more.
Okay. That puts it in perspective. I'm thinking like I could drive from the southern part of California for 10 hours north, and I'd probably be a little bit into Oregon, maybe. Right?
Yeah.
So
just about, just barely, yeah.
You can go from like
that's where I'm
Wales,
just like, okay.
from like Wales up to Scotland, that's easily 10 hours. Easily.
Wow.
Yeah,
I just have like no concept.
But over there, like they're roadways, right? You get on the freeway, but they don't take you off onto like some side street for 3 hours, and then you're back on the freeway, and then you're like off on another side street, and it's the weirdest like road system going. Now, full disclosure, I love it there. I love England. It's probably my favorite place.
How was the audience over there? Were they pretty receptive?
Yeah, man, they love rock and roll over there. They were great. There's a lot of dudes that just want to fight over there. So they're hanging out and they're getting rowdy and they drink.
They're just like looking for it, right?
Well, I mean, it's kind of what they do. They get over. I'm British, right? So they get over there and they just get fucking rowdy, and I like that because they're having a good time. But yeah, it can be like a little, oh shit, what's happening? Like especially if you're with a bunch of dudes that have never been to England, and don't really know that those dudes will kick your ass and like go back to drinking their beer, and cops don't get called, none of that shit. It's just you end up with like a straight bar fight and go back to what you're doing.
Well, isn't it pretty, it's like pretty normal that they fight over football teams, right? Soccer football teams, right? That's like a whole thing over there that they, it's like gang warfare kind of.
It's a culture, yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be really, really bad. I don't know if it's as bad as it used to be.
It used to be, right?
I can remember being there in the 80s and going to a football game and like coming out and like the team had lost or whatever, and there's like a car turned over and lit on fire. 8 years old, coming out of this football match with my uncle.
Wow.
And there's like this car just burning.
Damn.
Because the team lost, and not even like a big like FIFA team. Like we're talking like lower division, like
right,
the village team. Well, that village team lost. Well, fuck, that was our team. So now we're gonna coach.
Come out, I'm all, oh no, my Geo Metro.
Dude, those little cars over there, man, they are itty bitty, but inside they're gigantic. Like I fit a base and like this giant bag and a backpack and all kinds of shit in these just a little car. And so just because we're on England real quick, just a quick story. We were in England and we ended up staying in this hostel, right? And we all know you're on tour, you bring all your like loose stuff in and put it in the room. Well, we get into this hostel and it's like 1 a.m. I've got the bass, I've got like the little amp head, I've got a bag. I'm staying longer after the rest of the guys, so I've got this gigantic bag and we get to this hostel and it's the dude goes, oh yeah, well, it's upstairs, it's on the 6th floor. I'm like, okay, well, where's the lift at? Well, there's no lift. It's like, oh fuck.
Damn.
So it's like the double flight for 6 flights with like just basses and drums and so you stay in
workout.
You go to England on tour, get a hotel because the hostel situation is hostile.
Yeah.
Is it anything like the movie Hostel?
No, but we did have those kind of quotes, and we did have a couple of experiences. And that's a tale for another day, I think, because they got pretty brutal. It involved fish and chips and a Girl Scout troop, and it didn't end well.
Man.
Yeah, so I'll leave you with that: fish and chips and Girl Scouts.
We'll keep that for the Yeah, the interviews after midnight's portion of the show.
Portion of the show, right?
Yeah, Frantic Romantic After Dark.
The After Dark, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, quick question, Stevie. I want to ask, how did you get into photography? Because I see a lot of cool shots on your page, a lot of cool solo shots too. Did you set that up and then have the camera kind of like shoot you, or you had somebody else?
Okay, so we'll do the solo shots first, and we'll work backwards. So the solo shots came about because I would get these ideas. I get these ideas of oh, I want to do something. I want to try this shot, or I think it would look cool to do this, or I have this concept. Like, I don't have a fucking model, so I'm it. So that's how that kind of started, were those solo shots. But also on the flip side of that, Kenny Sinatra isn't always with me. It's like, you can't always take my picture when I'm like, oh dude, grab me here, or let's do this shot here. So but really it started with my own concept. If I had a model handy, it wouldn't have been me. It wouldn't be me. It would be a model, just because I want to get that art out, or I have this idea for a finish, or a way of editing it. But really, in the end, it's just because I don't have a model, so I end up being the model.
Okay.
And as far as how I got into it, my dad was into photography. He had this old Ricoh camera when I was a kid, film camera, and I got into like film cameras. And then in high school, I took a photography class, and that was all film. You developed it with film, and won a bunch of awards based on kind of stuff I did. And then I got out of it because you left school, and film was expensive, and I just didn't really get into it. I did a little bit, and then as digital got really, really, really good, I started getting more into it, started playing with it more. But it's only been, the past few years really that I've really gotten back into it. But I've done it for a long time, film wise. But digitally, it's really only been in the past few years that I've gotten into it. And, and I have a good time with it. I like it, there's always going to be that dude out there who's going to be like, oh, this fucking guy and his fucking selfies. Well, fuck face, if I don't have a model, what the fuck am I supposed to do, to, further my craft? So, not only do I further my craft, I get some cool shots out of them. And I'm like, I'm always that guy that's like, man, post that shit. Post it. Who cares what people think? Who cares what, anybody's going to say? Because there's always that dude that's like, oh, you're posting too much, or you're doing this, or you're doing that, or look at this dude in his selfies, and blah, blah, blah.
So yeah, there's always going to be that guy, no matter what.
No matter what you do, right?
Yeah, you're posting your band, you're posting your music, there's always going to be that guy. So again, another thing, what I tell other bands or other, social media guys, or how to get their social media, if you feel like you're over posting, you're not. Just post away. Post what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta love the critics that are like the authority on social media, and they'll even go so far as hosting those sorts of things to promote social media and social awareness. But
it used to be
they only have 3 likes.
Yeah, and it was that one, and there's always a dude that's the grammar guy. Oh nope.
Oh, yeah.
I get that reference.
There's a reference there.
It's like, God, dude, just and his one friend and his one like, and he's out there just shitting on everybody.
Oh yeah,
right.
Fuck off.
Right.
It's a bummer because it takes confrontation out of conversation, right? And now everybody can just say whatever they want to you. And
well, there's that great
Mike Tyson, right? Mike Tyson says that shit.
Oh yeah, you posted that, right?
I did, yeah. People they forget that they can get punched in the face because they can do it online,
I was just gonna quote that whole thing, and the whole like family circus meme floating around. It's like, oh yeah, he forgot he was on the internet, and the kid's laid out. It's like one of my memes.
Right.
We've all had somebody talk shit to us online, right? Of course we have.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody has, because there's all fucking internet tough guys out there, right?
Right. Right.
Big mouths running their shit, and they forget that there's two sides to every story, right? There's his side, my side, and the fucking truth, or whatever the fucking case may be. But they're out there and they're running their mouth, and they forget that one day you're going to run into them.
Oh yeah.
And it's not going to be
Yeah.
good. So there you have it.
There
And
you
that's
go.
my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Stevie, I hate to be that guy, but I'm always that guy. I'm the time police of the group. We have reached our time limit, so I apologize.
It's over.
I feel like we could have gone another 2 hours, and I would have been happy as a clam. So we would love to have you back on very soon. Thanks for joining us on Hanging with Friends. We always take this.
Thank you.
We always take maybe these last minute, couple minutes. If you want to go ahead and just go ahead and plug the audience with what you're up to, where they can find your stuff, and yeah, what projects you're doing.
My iron's always in the fire. I'm always doing something. Read the liner notes on stuff, because you might just see somebody you might know. Look at the credits on videos, because I'm always doing something. Right now I've got the Royal Rebels that we're slaving away at. We can't play anywhere, but we will eventually. The San Jose Syndicate, I came into that band, and we're still doing our thing. Can't play anywhere. Stevie Loveless, pretty much everywhere you can find me. But outside of that, just really quickly, just with the Skyway View connection and Dave Gary, I actually talked to Jimmy Arsenault the other day, and we were talking about releasing the Los Bastardo record. Finally,
Awesome.
Oh, cool.
That we recorded in like 2000 and never. Maybe it was later. It was later than that. But Dave Gary's on that record, and we've always said we wanted to put it out because Dave Gary is on it.
Yes.
So we have talked about it just recently about maybe we should just put it out maybe digitally. And so Los Bastardos Day of More, that page is still out and available, and you can float around there and keep an eye on it. Maybe we will put it out. But those talks are happening, so it's there.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Yeah.
That's about it, man. COVID has got everyone down and out, and no one's playing, no one's doing their thing. But if you listen to your old buddy Stevie and put some fucking production on your shit, you might get some likes.
You might get some more views. You might get talked about a little bit. Right.
Cool.
Thanks for having me, you guys. It was fun to chat.
Thanks
fun
for
to hang
coming on,
out.
Steve.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Looking forward to seeing you all very, very soon.
And of course,
Right on,
they can
man,
always
yeah.
hire you to do their photography and anything.
Yeah, man. If you want some pictures taken of you and your naked wife, your band, just go ahead and call me.
Your naked band.
Your naked
Naked
band.
band.
I'll do nude bands. That could be. That's the whole new thing, dude. The new rock star.
No, Red Hot Chili Peppers did that with the sock.
The sock, right?
Yeah. But what local band is doing it?
Oh, there you go.
It's
You want
really-
to set yourself apart? Contact Stevie Loveless.
On Laundry Day, right?
I'm available for social media consultation. Oh man.
And just want to give one last thank you to the audience. Thanks for tuning in, of course. Thanks for your questions. Hanging with the Friends is every Thursday night at 8:30, and we will catch you next time. Goodbye.
See you guys. Later.